Hey guys, and welcome to this new tutorial on how to do a ring pour. We're just going to jump right in and start out with our list of supplies. The first thing you're going to need is a scale. I prefer to use a digital scale because that's just me. I'm a digital gal. I like using things that are fancy. You're going to also need something to work on. I have a 4x4 tile here, just standard, pick them up from Lowe's, Home Depot, wherever. Make sure you have something to sit it on top of so that it's above your workstation. You're also going to need 4 small glasses. If you're working on a small canvas such as me, if you're working on a tile, these 4 little shot glasses are going to be perfect for you. Go ahead and set them out with your 4th one. Sit that right on the tile. Next item you're going to need is your paint. I am using a DecoArt Metallics Champagne Gold paint here. I'm also going to be using Craft Smart White acrylic paint and Craft Smart Black acrylic paint. I'm going to be using the DecoArt pouring medium as my flow additive. Now I'm going to turn my scale on and we're going to get started mixing our colors. I'll set the scale or the cup on the scale and then I'll tare the scale so that way it weighs 0 with my cup on the scale, which is an awesome part about having a digital scale. Then I'm going to take my black paint, shake it up really well, and I'm going to pour 0.1 fluid ounces. I might go a little over 0.1. Sometimes it's hard for the scales to register this small amount. So I did keep pouring. I think I'm closer to 2 than I am to 0.1. So I'm going to go ahead and add my pouring medium here. Give it a good shake. Make sure it's all nice and mixed up. I went ahead and put it in a little condiment, like a ketchup condiment bottle, so it's easier. You don't have to do this, it's just something that's a lot easier for me. I went ahead and assumed that I had 1.5 or 0.15 fluid ounces, and I added equal part pouring medium. So I put in 0.15, which equals 3. So I have 0.3 total combined liquid in my shot glass. Now I'm giving it a good stir, and I know you can't really see all that well here, but the consistency you're looking for is something like warm honey. Something where when you pick it up and it falls off the spatula, it's not keeping a mound. It's kind of just going down into that paint and not mounding up. Now I'm going to take another shot glass, set it on the scale. It should tare out to 0 when I set the shot glass on. I'm giving my white a really good shake, and I'm going to pour a little extra white than I did the black because I want more white than any of the other colors that I have. So in this instance, I'm going to pour 0.2 fluid ounces. Then I'm going to grab my pouring medium and put in equal parts pouring medium. So I have 0.4 total fluid ounces in the cup. Now I'm going to take my spatula and give it a good stir. Here you can see the consistency of the paint just a little bit better. See, once it hits the paint as I pick it up, it just absorbs right back into it and it does not form a mound. That is what you want. I do tend to like my paints a little bit on the thicker side because I like those lines of demarcation in my rings. So clear, defined lines are my favorite thing. All right, last color, I'm putting 0.1 ounces of gold into my cup, and I will mix 0.2 2 ounces to equal 0.3 fluid ounces total in my cup. I have noticed that with metallics, they are a little bit thicker, so they require a little bit more pouring medium. So keep that in mind. If you're not using a metallic in this particular follow along, if you're using a regular paint, then use your best judgment. Perfect consistency. The paint absorbs right back into the cup and there are no mounds. So that's exactly what I want. Now that all the fun mixing is over with, I'm going to clean off my spatula so I have it for next time. I'm going to put on my gloves to protect my hands. This can get extremely messy. So always wear gloves. It's a lot easier than walking around with paint on your hands trying to get to your bathroom and dropping paint on the carpet. Haven't done that yet. All right, gloves are on. So here's where you decide what color do you want to be on top. The first color you put in is the color that's going to be on top. Here I chose white. So I'm going to do a liberal amount of white, seeing how I want it to be white heavy instead of the other colors dominating the piece. Just a tiny bit of black, just enough to give the ring some definition. And then here I'm going to go a little heavy with the gold, not too heavy though. This is going to be very close to the center of my ring pours, so I want to make sure that I'm very careful with the colors that I put in here. Lots of white. Very little black. Now notice that I am hitting the edge of that cup. The little shot glass, I'm hitting the edge of it so the paint doesn't violently fall into the cup and break through the other layers. Make sure you hit the edge of that cup to break that fall and slow the paint down. Otherwise, all your paints are going to just go crazy all down into each other and you'll come out with, might be something cool. I don't know. It could be. It might be a totally different thing though, other than a ring pour. Then we have a little bit more black. So you keep going in this fashion and then just layering your colors. I'm getting close to the end of my paints, so I'm going to start just pouring the whole cups in there. I'm at the part now where I'm creating the outside rings of the ring pour, so I can be a little heavy-handed with the colors here. All right, now we're ready to pour. So what you want to do is make sure that the edge you were pouring on is facing to wherever you're going to be pouring from. So if you're left-handed and you're pouring out the right side of the cup, make sure that edge is facing out the right side. If you're right-handed like me and pouring out the left side of the cup, make sure it's facing to the left. And then start slowly pouring and going in tiny, tiny little circles. You can see that it starts to look a little bit like a blob, but don't worry. And right there, you notice me jerk really hard? I was squeezing the shot glass so hard that I broke it and scared the devil out of myself. I jumped. I am so jumpy. It popped and made the loudest noise. It was in my hand. So I flinched, and you can see up in the right hand corner where I kind of had a little spook there. So once it's all poured, wait a second. Don't be hasty. Let it sit and do its magic. Take your time. Now I'm not going to wait forever, but do you see how things are starting to separate out a little bit more? That's what you want. And then I've found with ring pours, the best method to get them to stretch out is to just go in a circular motion, because it keeps all those rings intact, but at the same time it expands them out. So you'll see I'm moving in a very circular motion, not that fluid. I'm trying to get the edges as well at the same time. Now, if you've used the perfect amount of paint, which we have in this case for this small little tile, then you're going to have a little bit of trouble getting your edges covered. But the great part about it is that your design stays flawless. You don't have a lot of it running off the sides. Your rings are intact, and that beautiful, beautiful fine detail in the middle of the ring doesn't go sliding off the side of the canvas or the tile. Now I did notice here that I had a lot of air bubbles that were trapped in the paint. So you see those little dots? That is because there were air bubbles stuck in my paint. And they popped, came up to the surface, and dragged some paint with them. Now I think it's pretty like that, but in my next tutorial I'm going to try my best to get rid of those. I'm going to try my best to do the perfect ring pour. This was an attempt. I knew the second that shot glass popped, there was no way this was going to be a perfect ring pour. So now I'm stretching it out, getting the corners. When you get down to a corner like that and the paint's being a little bit stubborn, just take like a pinching motion. Make sure your index finger is on one piece of the paint, your thumb is on the other side where the paint touches the edge, and just pinch it together and it'll help it flow a little bit faster. In some cases, like this edge, which was really stubborn, you'll have to get your finger on the edge of the paint where it's being held up, break that seal that's being formed, and then once you break that seal, it'll start moving a little bit quicker. And once your edges are all covered, now it's just a matter of fine-tuning the piece and getting it where you want it. Doesn't have to be perfect, but get it perfectly where you want it. Here I just wanted a little bit of that corner coming off the edge. Nothing too drastic. Just a little bit of that corner coming off the edge. At this point I was trying to move that center over to where my finger is on the edge of the tile, but that center was just going so slow, so I decided, you know what, this is good just as it is. And that's it, the finished product. Take a look at the definition in between the rings, how our careful slow pouring and our delicate, deliberate use of black in between the colors creates that perfect definition. I hope you enjoyed this walkthrough and that it helped you create a beautiful piece. If it did, post it on Instagram and tag me at #Pourly, POURLY, done art. Thanks for watching. Bye.